Good morning once again from Parsauron, I think is the name of this village where I've settled down for a few days. And I was just inside my room. That's my room right there. And there's this trail going up into the hills, and I can get onto it right from my room basically. And this is the Sumber Mukran hotel, karaoke, restaurant, something like that. And I was just in my room editing a video from yesterday in which I rode my bike to the local famous waterfall, the Ponot waterfall, which everyone says is the highest, the tallest waterfall in all of Indonesia and the second tallest in Southeast Asia. I doubt both of those claims, but I rode my bike there. It's like 14 kilometers up the mountain road from here. Really beautiful ride, really enjoyable. There's the hotel complex down below me. And yeah, the waterfall was very beautiful, very interesting to see. Met some people there, did an interview with a group of students working on some kind of a project. But I was just busy editing that video, and I was about to make my second cup of coffee of the morning when I looked outside, and this is what I saw. The sun. Like yesterday and the day before, and I think even the day before that, everything was very gray and overcast. So I wasn't getting the beautiful blue skies. And yet today was the day I had set aside for some video editing and hanging out closer to home. And then it turned out that the weather is just stunning. So before I plugged in the kettle, I thought, well, let's go for a stroll at least. There's this trail, as I said, that leads up from my hotel. And one of the women that works at this hotel, when I first arrived, she pointed at the trail and suggested to me, hey, you can go up that trail. I tried to find out from her, well, what's up here? Like, why would I go up this trail? Like, what is there to see other than the trail? And she couldn't explain it to me. I couldn't understand what she said. But I do know that a lot of local men go up here on motorbikes, believe it or not. I can hear their engines revving from long distances because they have to use all their power to get up this steep climb. And I guess they go boar hunting back here. Well, not necessarily boar hunting. I was chatting with a local man the other day named Ricky, and he said that they trap the boars. They don't actually come up here with guns and hunting dogs and hunt the boar. They set up traps for them. And then they go up on their motorbikes to check their traps. And then if they have a boar, then they bring it down. I don't know how they kill it. I don't know anything about it, how the trap works. It just occurred to me that if you had some kind of a leg trap or a big cage or something, and you trapped yourself a 250-pound boar, it's still going to be alive. How in the world do you get it onto your motorcycle? You would have to kill it first. And I don't know how they do that. Yeah, these boar are no joke, I'll tell you that. Anyway, here I am on the trail while it's still a little bit cool and the sun is out. I thought I'd go for a little bit of an uphill stroll. I'm hoping it's not a massive hike. I don't want to get tempted into a 4-hour climb or anything. I just want to take advantage of the weather conditions right now and take a look around. So lush here, incredible. That's interesting. I just noticed that piece of hillside over there is more bare. There's no trees on it. I do wonder if there is a risk of deforestation here, if people cut down trees for firewood or to make room for more oil palm. Because these are all oil palm trees surrounding me. It says oil palm, oil palm. Yeah, all of these trees are oil palm. Look at the size of them though. They are huge. I have no idea whether these are harvested, because how in the world are you going to get all the way up to the top of these trees? But I was wondering whether there's a risk of deforestation, because it looks like lush jungle. It's just gorgeous. And I'm wondering whether there's a trend towards cutting down all the trees, and then these hillsides might be a bit more barren, which would lead to a lot more rock slides, landslides. But yeah, let's see where this trail goes. The trail is very, very steep, built along a series of switchbacks like this one, very steep around these curves. And I've noticed that it has cement laid down here. So this is actually a cement trail, again, for the motorcycles to get up here. Pretty crazy when you think about it. I guess economically, for whatever it is they do up at the top of this trail, it made economic sense to invest the money to upgrade the trail and cut the trees, like all the trees that fall across it. They keep it cleared and lay down cement so that they can ride their motorbikes up here. And man, they need a lot of power to do it. Huh, look at that. So I guess they do some timber harvesting. You can see here, there's actually a platform there where they're cutting boards. So it looks like they've cut down a tree up here, and then they're cutting lumber, take it out for sale. I don't know what kind of a lumber that is, what kind of a tree, but that's kind of what I'm talking about, whether there's a deforestation pressure here, cutting down trees. And these hills here are so steep, these cliffs. You take away enough of these trees, man, these whole hillsides could let loose. You see that in places like Nepal, where all the foreigners coming for trekking, they all need food, and the villagers all cut down trees to build fires to cook food, and that has led to deforestation and lots of landslides. My plan for the day is to stay close to home, basically. So I didn't have any plan to go up this trail, but wow. Yeah, just like I said, I couldn't resist the weather. Look at that. There's the trail going ahead of me. Gorgeous up here. So I'm glad I decided to do this. And then I'll come back down the trail, cold shower, cup of coffee, do some video editing. And then the other day I was chatting with the man who runs Asahan River Rafting. He's also the man who guided the Lost Boys in exploring this area. And one place he brought them was a place called Blackwater Falls, I think. And when I was talking to him yesterday, he said to me, "Oh, do you know about Blackwater?" Because I told him I went to Ponot, but I didn't go swimming in the pool at the base of the falls. It was just way too challenging and difficult, steep, rocky approach to the pond, to the pool. Very slippery, very dangerous, I think. You can still do it if you really needed to, but I didn't bother. So I mentioned that to him, that unlike the Lost Boys, I did not go for a swim at Ponot. So he said to me, "Oh, do you know about Blackwater?" Because he took the Lost Boys to this place called Blackwater, which the Lost Boys described as the most beautiful waterfall swimming hole they've ever seen. So I'd be interested in going there. And then the Asahan River Rafting guy, he said, "Yeah, it's right here, like near your hotel." And he started telling me about the road I needed to take, and it sounded very familiar. And I said to him, "Yeah, actually I went up that road, but I never found the waterfalls. It seemed way too far away." And a woman I spoke to, she said to me, "Yeah, so far, and then you have to climb down and it's very difficult or something. I guess I misunderstood her, because according to my guide at the Asahan River rafting, it's very close. In fact, when I pushed my bike up that hill, I was practically there. Had I gone just a little bit farther, I would have found Blackwater waterfalls. So my plan today is to go there. So just to walk there, obviously. No need to bring my bike. So that's my main goal for today after this hike. And I also want to go across the river. There's like a cable car system, hand powered. And I want to go across the river on one of these hand powered cable cars, grab a lunch at a nearby restaurant, my regular place now, and then yeah, that'll be my whole day. There goes the guy on a motorcycle. Hey, he could be harvesting oil palm fruit as well. Those big baskets he had on his motorbike, I see them usually filled up with oil palm. Yeah, I heard him coming up behind me, so I made sure to get off the trail, give him room to pass. I hear voices up there, so there's already somebody up above him. Just over this ridge, I can't really see much, but I can hear water. It's either the river or it could even be the Blackwater waterfall right down there, because it is quite close to here. But you can hear the Asahan River down there. And here I can see a break through the trees, which usually means you're sort of, unless you're being tricked, you're sort of getting to the top of the ridge. Yeah, the trail does seem to be flattening out. And hopefully I can see what's on the other side of this ridge. Like it might be a whole cluster, like a farming settlement up here and in a neighboring river valley or something. I'm not sure. We've got a little structure up ahead. Yeah, and then a trail heading off there, so could be a network of trails back here leading away from this main one. I'm guessing that this is the tree that they cut down for timber. It just looks like the kind of tree, very straight, which you'd want for the lumber industry. And there's a bunch of them here. I don't know what species of tree that is, but I'm guessing that this is, I don't know if they do a lot of lumber up here, but this is probably the same type of tree that I saw that they were cutting into planks. But yeah, there's this little structure here. I'll probably walk a certain distance down this trail, and then I'll decide, that was a nice walk, and at that point I'll turn around and go back. And I'll find out later that had I gone 50 meters more, I would have seen the most amazing things. But yeah, without local information, you just don't know. It's kind of the advantage of sticking around a place longer term rather than just zooming by, spending one night. You need time to absorb the atmosphere, and then over time you slowly become aware of what's around. So yeah, I think on my own, had I just kept riding my bike up to the top to Lake Toba, I never would have found out about Paw Knot Waterfall. I just didn't know about it, and I just learned about it by accident. Same thing with those trolleys, hand-pulled trolleys going across the river. Now Blackwater Pool, which I'm going to visit today. This trail. yeah, you just don't know what's in the area until you settle in and start spreading out and looking around. Could not ask for an easier yet interesting trail than this one. Very pleasant. And I've heard some gibbons, simas. I have such trouble. Oh, here's one right now. Very far away though, I hear a bunch of them hooting. I still haven't seen one. They'd be very obvious, I think, when you see one, because they have such a dramatic look to them. Very different from the typical macaques, of course, because these gibbons are apes. They're not monkeys like the macaques. But yeah, my trail is starting to go down now, which makes me nervous. Yeah, I don't want to lose all the height that I've gained and end up not really going anywhere except having to go back up again. Anyway, we'll see. I'll stick on this trail for a little bit longer. I was hoping that at the top where I would get a beautiful expansive view of the area, but there were no views really, and I wanted to be able to see in that direction from up high, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen either. I'll just continue for a little while farther, see what I come across. I just realized I forgot my knapsack. Such a dummy. Early in the morning, not quite awake yet. I got all of my camera gear ready, water to drink, grips and tripods for my camera, all my GoPro batteries ready to go. And then for some reason, I walked out of my room without my knapsack. At least I hope I did. I hope I left it behind in my room and I didn't put it down somewhere and just forget about it. But no, that would be very unlike me to do that. Ah, a home, a farm and a home. I heard some children's voices. And it looks like they live here. Man, what a place to live. Just getting from here to the main road would be an effort. Yeah, I wonder if there's like a whole community up here, a village. Yeah, there it is there, the house. Could be that this family has two houses. That's often the case. I often misunderstand a situation. I will see a house like this at a farm, and I conclude that these people are living very, very rough. Like what a difficult life it must be to live up here, cut off. How do you get water? Do they have electricity? And I imagine the kind of lifestyle that they have. And then I find out that, well, this is the house at their farm. They don't live here all the time. They just use it as a convenient place when they have a lot of work to do. And they normally stay at another house in town somewhere. So that's normally what's going on, but it takes time to figure that out. I think the trail is coming down to a river, one of the tributaries of the Asahan. I can hear water running up ahead. So I don't think I'm going to be going much farther than this. As I said, I didn't set off on a major hike, just wanted to go for a stroll. Oh, wow. Huh. Well, I think I have to go a little bit farther. There's an actual bridge here with railings. And maybe there's more houses over there. Yeah, so go a little bit farther. See what's going on here. Yeah, I'm guessing that this is the tributary that goes down to black water. Looks like they've got a nice swimming hole down there for the kids. Could be a bathing spot for the adults as well. Nice. Very scenic. Yeah, I keep talking about the cement. This looks like a new part of the trail that they built, and these are all the cement bags. Also, all these had to be carried up here by motorcycle, and then they'd have to mix it with water and gravel to make the cement. All the cement bags. And I suppose that's kind of a local habit, which is kind of foreign to my way of thinking. It would never occur to me to leave all of this behind as part of the construction job in Canada anyway. No matter how big or small, you're always expected to carry out all the debris and the trash. Maybe this will all get carried out eventually, but for now, yeah, they just dumped all the trash at the side of the road. It's probably going to be here for the next 50 years. Look at it all. So much cement. Yeah, it takes a lot to build a trail like this. Here's some of the kids. I was talking a lot the other day about the lifespan of oil palm and how they grow from tiny trees to big monsters. And here's one, a good example of what I was talking about. As you can see, there's no tree really. This is the whole thing right here. There's no real trunk yet. There's just the base of the tree. And then over time, as the trunk grows, they had these palm fronds, but then they were cut and they harvested the fruit, and then new ones grew in, and then new ones. And as the tree grows, it leaves behind all of these fragments of the palm fronds. And then this would be a very, very young tree. Okay, yeah, there's the fruit right there. That's how it grows, jammed right into that intersection between the palm fronds, holds it in place basically, and it grows out from the trunk. So I think in order to harvest it, they cut this, and then they get that out of there, and then the tree. So even the young oil palm, even this young, is already producing fruit. Yeah, this is like a new. So I'm guessing that's why the money was produced to build this cement pathway. Otherwise, you couldn't really have an oil palm plantation up here. And there's no way to carry all this oil palm out on foot. It would be a tremendously difficult job. So yeah, so this whole area is being developed for oil palm, and they're growing their own cement bags. Look at that, there's so many of them. Oh, it looks like it's not just cement in these bags. They were actually used to haul like up gravel, sand and gravel, to mix with cement. So that's why there's so many bags. I was wondering why there are so many. You wouldn't need quite that much cement, but it looks like a lot of it is rock to be mixed with the cement. That makes more sense. And man, what a job. Because you need water, you need wheelbarrows, you need shovels, you mix up the cement with all the sand and gravel and rock. Getting all that water up here, probably by hand, or maybe they bring it up on motorcycles as well, or get it from the rivers and transport it by a motorcycle, I don't know. I just realized there's another crop up here, rubber trees. These are rubber trees, you can see where they've cut into the bark for the rubber to flow into containers. I just saw a woman or a man down there cutting into a tree and setting up another reservoir, a catch basin for the rubber. Yeah, I don't know if it's quite visible on the GoPro, but you can see there's a spiral carving and then a long line cut down into that like coconut at the bottom. Coconut shell, and it's filling up with rubber. Do you hear the gibbons? They're on the other side of the river. Looks like it's a much more virgin sort of jungle out there on the other side of the river. That's where the gibbons are. So yeah, this whole area has been cleared of the local vegetation as well. And they put in some young oil palm. Climbing uphill is so deceptive. If you'd asked me right now, like, how far have you come on this hike? I would have said 5 kilometers, something like that. But I just checked my, my tracking app that I'm using, and according to that, I've actually walked 1.7 kilometers. So far less than I thought I had walked. But yeah, when you're going uphill, I go very slowly. I'm not a physical specimen in any way. I don't go powering up hills on foot or on a bicycle. I'm very slow. Here, a motorcycle. That's the way to go.
Morning.
Morning. Apa kabar?
Dari mana?
Just jalan-jalan.
Jalan-jalan.
Take a video. Take video. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. Yeah. Saya dari Canada.
Canada.
Yeah.
Seorang diri?
Sendiri orang.
Sendiri.
Sendiri, yeah. Just a lot more rubber trees here. I don't know if rubber trees are natural in any way. Like, would this field of rubber trees just be here anyway, whether people harvested the rubber or not? Or were they planted deliberately? But there's quite a full coconut shell of rubber. Yeah, very slow moving substance, because it's not like liquid or anything. It's just halfway between liquid and a solid, and it just slowly fills that up down there. But yeah, these are all rubber trees all down this hillside, and then over here on the other side as well, all rubber trees. So there's the rubber. Yeah, the top here is very, very liquidy though. Oh, look at that. Oh, so it's actually dripping here. Look at that. They put a leaf catching. It's more liquidy than I thought. And then down here, I guess it starts to solidify. The water evaporates and it becomes thicker and thicker. Yeah, another one over there. I don't think I've seen them use a leaf like that before, almost like a funnel, making sure it drips directly into the, oh, it drips in this leaf, and then they put in another leaf there, so it hits that leaf and then runs in. Very cool. And I've got my my rubber finger. This one is really flowing. I'm seeing a drip of rubber every 5-10 seconds. Oh, look, that was like 2 or 3 seconds there. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3-4 seconds between each drip. Huh. Very productive tree. This trail is an absolute joy. Now, especially now that it flattened out and it's gone to a dirt trail. No more cement up here. Still hasn't really opened up that much. You can see across the river to that other hillside. But you don't really get expansive views up here. There's no high peaks or anything. It's more like rolling hills and valleys. And a lot of trees. Yeah, rubber was a huge industry all through Indonesia and Malaysia, all in like the early 1900s. And then I guess at some point, I forget the year exactly, like after World War II maybe, maybe during the middle of the war, when rubber was in high demand and they invented artificial rubber, and then natural rubber wasn't needed as much anymore. And the economy for rubber plantations kind of collapsed after that, once synthetic rubber was invented, made from oil products, I guess. But I think there's still a lot of uses for this natural rubber, as long as you produce it on kind of a small scale. Another climb, and I guess it's the climbing that dictates where they put the cement, because here, where it was quite flat, the motorcycles can follow along here even when it's raining, I guess, if the land is wet. But as soon as you hit a hill, yeah, you're not making that up unless you get more traction. So they put in another patch of cement here. So I keep saying it, but I'll say it one more time. A little bit farther. Just want to see what's at the top of this hill. See what happens over here, and then I'll turn around and head back. Really enjoyed this look into the regional economy though, like what's going on back in these hills. When you ride down the main road, all you see is jungle on all sides of you, and you think it must all be empty land, just jungle, but obviously it's not true at all. Not a lot of people living back here, but the land is being worked for rubber, oil palm, things like that. Yeah, and these oil palm are a little bit older. It's gotten beyond the stage of just the base, and it's developing a bit of a trunk. And now the palm fruit is up there, a little bit harder to reach, but still accessible. So yeah, all these trees look to be the same age. I don't know if it matters in terms of the age of the tree, how much fruit it produces. Do young trees produce more, or do older trees produce more? Maybe exactly the same, I don't know. Some more farmers, oil palm harvesters maybe went by. Yeah, I don't really know the life stages of the oil palm fruit either. You see this? I have no idea what that is. Like, is that going to turn into the oil palm fruitlets? These long, narrow growths? Do they turn into the bunches eventually? I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen those before. Like that one up there. And then does it turn into that? It looks like it does. I think they grow outward, and then the berries grow down at the base and then spread outward, and then these brown things kind of fall. They wither away and die, and then the fruit starts to grow. That is the Planet Doug botanist, agriculturalist guesswork going on here. So I have turned around, going back. And what was my total distance to get here? Let me check. 2.3 kilometers to get to this point. Wow, now there's a tree. That looks like a granddaddy tree. Probably get some good lumber out of that tree there. Can't even see the top of it. Oh, there it is, way up there. More motorbikes. Yeah, for adventure travelers, like traveling on a good motorbike with off-road capability, this would be a lot of fun. A young woman, so perhaps there are more settlements off in that direction. She didn't look like she was outfitted for work for the day. This makes me think of the role of roads and railroads, things like that, in terms of human development and settlement growth and industrialization, because what the road conditions are like and what kind of vehicles can travel on it completely transform the area. So now that we've got this cement trail coming up here, it opens up more opportunities for rubber plantations and oil palm plantations. Just makes it easier to get in and out, and then when you get more and more industry up here, more and more people working, and then eventually they might turn this into a road, and then the road makes it even more easy, and suddenly you have more houses, and then there's a school, and then there's a health clinic, and before you know it, there'll be all villages all the way through here. And it all starts with a footpath, and the size of the footpath, the ease of access dictates what can happen here. And then as the path turns into a cement, twice as wide, but cement, and more vehicles, more people, and then it becomes a road. And yeah, it sort of dictates the pace of growth for human settlement, I guess. Same thing with railroads, how railroads open up entire sections of a country. Without the railroad, nothing happens. Build a railroad, and then suddenly huge cities start to grow along the railroad tracks. I guess rivers served that purpose in the past. I've often thought about that. The original people of any area all settled beside rivers, which makes sense because of the water. And then the river also provides transportation. And those would have been the original roads, the rivers. And all human settlements would be alongside the rivers. Yeah, luckily this main trail seems pretty obvious. And sometimes when you walk along a trail, you think you're just following one main trail, then you turn around and try to go back, and you realize that without knowing it, you went by a lot of intersections, a lot of Y moments where trails branched in different directions. And then when you try to go back, you're not sure which way to go anymore. But so far, that doesn't seem to be the case here. There's only one main trail. It's pretty obvious how I'm supposed to get back. Yeah, another hillside full of rubber trees. Yeah, they're recognizable. They have that distinct coloring. The patches of white and orange and gray and orange and brown. That patchwork coloring always tells me that's a rubber tree. Little morning hike update. Slowly getting down to the bottom. But as I said, when I got to the very end of my hike and I turned around, I had the feeling like I had walked much farther than I really did. And now that I'm going down this steep incline, I have that feeling twice over. My little mid-coffee stroll feels like it has turned into a major hike. I don't have much spring left in my thigh muscles here. I have to be very careful going down these steep sections. I don't have a lot of spring in my step, and I don't want to slip. But yeah, beautiful hike, really enjoyable. Learned a lot about this area too, which I really enjoyed. And everywhere you go, you're not too far away from one of these monsters carrying electricity in and out from all the various dams. I still don't have that figured out. I even went online doing searches and I was trying to figure out exactly how many dams there were and where they're located and all that stuff, but I guess I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I didn't figure out very much. It wasn't very clear to me where the dams were and whether they created big lakes of water or reservoirs or exactly what they did. Yeah, I'm thinking before I go back to my room and have a cup of coffee to celebrate this hike, I might just walk across the street and go across the trolley, the hand-pulled trolley across the river, since I'm already out and I'm already soaked with sweat. I might as well go do that little adventure instead of waiting until later. I just don't know whether I have the GoPro battery power to do it or not. We'll find out. Because as I said, I forgot. For some reason, I lost or I forgot my knapsack. So I don't have any extra batteries with me. When this one runs out, I'm done. So we'll see whether I have enough battery power left to record the epic crawl across the river on the hand trolley. I'm all the way back down now. There's the Sumber Makmur. I always get the name wrong. And I guess that's where, yeah, that's where I went hiking, just up that hill to the top and then over that ridge and then up the next ridge and up and up and up. So, hello. Grand total, according to my tracking app, was 4.5 kilometers of like walking. I don't know about the altitude gain and climb yet. I'll find that out when I pause the app at the very end, I guess. But yeah, like I thought, since I'm already hot and sweaty and I'm out shooting video, I might as well try this out. Though it looks like the cart is way over on the other side. I don't know what the etiquette is for these things. I assume I can pull it over here. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Let's see. All right. Let's see how this works. Oh, that's really smooth, very easy. It's taking almost like no muscle power at all. He says, as he just starts, may get harder over time. Yeah, I guess at the beginning it goes downhill, right? So it's easy now. I'm pulling it uphill, but I do have a mechanical advantage with the pulley over there, so I'm not pulling the full weight of this thing. Oh, there's a bird cage and a poor bird. I guess I'm going to make it very, very nervous. Well, oh man. Yeah, I definitely spoke too soon about how easy that was. Hi there, bird. I don't see any kind of a break. Anyway, let's hop on and see how things go. Oh. Somebody showed up at the other side. Whoa. That is way down there. Oh. There we are. Whoa. Oh, okay. So you hold on to both of those, I guess. And then, well, I guess he wanted his bird.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure why the bird was still on there. Did he forget his bird? Another mystery. So I think he tried to show me the more efficient way of getting in and out. Well, that was very cool. Certainly went across a lot faster than I was expecting, because he was pulling from this side and he really put his back into it. And here are the pulleys at the very top. Huh, they're serrated, which is interesting. Oh, okay, that makes sense, because I guess they match the grooves in the cable. This serration is a mirror opposite to the grooves in the cable. But man, I'll tell you, we were much higher above that river than I expected. So yeah, let's head back across. And this is the platform where you get on. And he was showing me that you grab the cable and the rope together, and that will keep it from moving for when you get in and out. At least that's what I understood from what he was showing me. Yeah, he pulled me across so fast. I never even had time to get on the seat. I was actually sitting on the, just on the base the whole time. So let's hold on to that. Grab hold of that. Sit down. And then we let go. And to get to the middle, it's just going to go on its own. Wow. What a canyon down below. That is so far down there. That is scary, scary high. Can you imagine if the water level was as high as it used to be before the dams? I'll bet you the rafting through here would have been incredible. But yeah, just looking down is frightening. So let's get a view forward as I pull. Yeah, I can really feel it starting to go up now. Yeah, the guy on the other side, he really knew how to do it. Like when it goes towards the middle and you have all that momentum, you don't ever let the momentum die. You just keep, you start really pulling hard, and then you kind of coast up the other side. All right. And then we pull and pull our way the final few meters. Yeah, you need a lot of arm strength. I don't have much arm strength, and I'm just about at my limit here, pulling this thing up. I guess you can do it, you know, the full strength of your body, so you're never going to be stuck. But if you want to do it arm over arm, one at a time, you need to have more muscles than I have. Three more. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4. There we go. That was hard. So now we have to get out of this thing without losing control. Okay. Okay. Whew. All right. That's an adventure for the morning, let me tell you. I had no idea the river was so far below there. And I don't think there's any lock on it, like I can't lock it to put it here. Yeah, I don't see any kind of a mechanism, which is a good thing, I guess, because if I lock it, then people from the other side, they won't be able to pull it over. So it just basically has to sit here, and it'll just glide out to a certain point where it will come to a stop. Yeah, like right there. Whew. All right. Much more of an adventure than I thought it would be. Oh, it looks like they do have a mechanism here. Maybe this rope with a stick. Maybe when you get to the end and you need time to get off, you can drop this in and it holds it in place. Yeah, I think so. I think this goes into the railing, and then it'll hold it. And then you have to release it again, or else it'll be locked over here. But yeah, you got to be careful. Obviously, no barriers, no seat belts. Obviously. Whew. Very cool. All right. Now I deserve a cup of coffee, cold shower, and a cup of coffee to relax. I'm glad I made the decision to pop outside for a couple hours, have this little adventure here on the trolley, and then over there climbing up that hill. Yeah, so I'm gonna hang out for a little while and then walk up the road to my lunch place. It's about 2 or 3 in the afternoon now, and the day hasn't gone entirely according to plan. That's because some rain clouds moved in. Heavy downpour. And I don't know, the way the rain comes down here, you feel like it's never going to stop. Like it's just going to rain and rain and rain and rain. But then after, I don't know, an hour and a half, I guess, in total, we're back to this. Clouds are gone. Sun is back out. Yeah, it's a tough life in a way. Gotta get off the road a little bit. Yeah, there's no there's no shoulder at all here, just a cement drop off. So there's not much room for vehicles and pedestrians. Just saying, it's a bit of a tough life, especially for someone like me, just because of the heat and humidity. Of course, it's a pretty basic lodging where I am now. Obviously, no air conditioning, just a fan. And the room gets pretty hot. I have to keep the door open and the window open and the fans running just to even be barely comfortable. And every time I step outside, I'm drenched in sweat. Like when I came back from my little morning hike, I was wearing my red Canada t-shirt, and it was just soaking. You could twist it and liquid drips out of it. It was so wet from sweat. And my pants were soaking wet, my underwear was soaking wet. So even after a little hike like that, you have to spend time rinsing out your clothes, get rid of all the salty sweat, and then hang it up to dry. And then your clothing tends to get very stinky and smelly, moldy very quickly, mildewy because of all of the moisture. But, and then I want to go out for lunch. Hello. Apa kabar? Apa kabar? Baik. Yeah, I don't know if you can say apa kabar to kids, whether that's appropriate. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to go out for lunch, and then there you are, sitting in your sweltering room. And the first thing I have to do, of course, is go take a shower just to get ready. And I cool down. But by the time I put on this shirt and a pair of shorts, I'm just soaking wet again, just drenched in sweat, just from the effort of putting on my clothes. And now, yeah, walking uphill to the restaurant. By the time I get back, this t-shirt is going to be soaked with sweat. just from the effort of having lunch, right? Just the way it is. I guess local people adapt in some ways. They don't go out as much in the midday heat as a foreigner like me does. They tend to come out more at night. That's when they do most of their living. I tend to do most of my living during the day at the hottest time. So yeah, like even the man that I met and I talked to on camera, Ricky, he says, yeah, he works all day. So I sent him a couple messages the other day saying, hey, do you want to go meet me for lunch or go do this, go do that? And he said, yeah, I can't. I work every day until 6, which means he stays inside his home all through the hot part of the day. I doubt he has air conditioning in his house here, but he might. I don't think people up here bother with air conditioning because the temperature does drop at night. It gets a little bit cooler. But then, of course, in my case, leaving the door open to cool it down just invites all of the bugs in. So I end up dealing with flies and moths and mosquitoes, and there's been a infestation of those flying ants recently. And they're like attracted to light, like dramatically. So you turn on the light in your room and then you have the door open to the outside world. In the evening, yeah, those flying ants just come pouring in and they just torment you endlessly. But yeah, I remember a couple of puppies here. Hey there, pups. They haven't noticed me yet. No, they don't care about me. When I went by on my bike, they were barking quite a bit. So I don't know if I'm going to make it to the swimming hole today. I may save that for tomorrow. My hike this morning, because I have a lot of editing work to do, so I can spend the rest of the day editing my video of going to the waterfalls yesterday, and I can go to the swimming hole tomorrow morning, maybe be a bit more fresher. I might have had enough adventures just for today with the hike and the trolley across the river and the thunderstorm. And now walking to lunch. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but there's my arm. And I haven't done anything. All I've done is put on a shirt and walked a couple hundred meters, and it's just dripping with sweat. Just drenched. Yeah, I can shake my arm and sweat goes flying off it. It's that hot here. Yeah, I often wonder, just how do people survive? Live an entire life here. Has a big effect on your lifestyle, this temperature and humidity. Yeah, I think that's Ricky's house right there. And I don't see an air conditioner, no. I feel bad about the local style of kites because these kites, they don't fly. I mean, when I was a kid, when we flew a kite, the kite would go up. So if there'd be a kid there flying a kite, if I was there flying a kite, my kite would be up there, like hundreds and hundreds of meters into the sky. Because the kites we used as kids, these bat wing kites, would actually gain altitude. Hello. These kites never get airborne. All they do is run up and down the highway with them, and they're like in the air a few feet as they run, but they never actually catch the wind and go up. So that's got to be not much fun. Last time I was here, I had this dish, basically fried noodles in pho mi, and then I had the bakso pentol, which is good. There's one big egg in there, so you get the bakso, the soup broth, and then there's an egg inside that's covered in batter. So that's a kind of filling. And then I get the a juice is 5,000. So yeah, there's a big difference in price that I was talking about earlier with the hotel. Here I can get an actual homemade fruit smoothie for 5,000, but at the hotel, even a tiny bottle of Sprite is 10,000. So I'd much rather walk here and have 2 fruit juices instead of like 1 Sprite, which should be 3,000. So yeah, with a hotel or airport prices or anything like that, you know, you expect a markup. They're going to charge you a little bit more. But there's a limit to what consumers will put up with, you know. Once the price gets too high, we start voting with our feet. And my meals there, when I had like a piece of chicken and rice and a drink, and the price was always all over the place, but it would settle around 50 or 60,000 rupiah. And here I can get 2 dishes and a drink, and it's like 27,000. No, less than that. 17 plus 5, yeah, 22. So my meal at the hotel is 3 times as expensive as coming here. So it's kind of a no-brainer, no matter what the economy, right? Yeah, I'm recording with the lavalier mic here again. This is my good one. This is the Rode Lavalier Go, it's called. Yeah, Rode Lavalier Go, I think. But anyway, it's a fairly expensive lavalier mic. It's designed to work with Rode microphones. And I think the sound is a lot better than the other one I was using. I forget the name of it, but it's not as nice as this one. I like a trebly sound. I like a sharp, crisp kind of sound. I don't like flat, muffled. And I really don't like noise cancellation. That seems to be all the rage on like for cameras and microphones. I just saw a brand new, very weird, not weird, but elaborate multi-microphone tool, like 4 microphones in one from Boya. A friend of mine sent me a link to this product because he knows I'm interested in audio equipment. Looks like a pretty interesting set. I don't know whether it would work or not. It might be a bit like a Swiss Army knife that tries to have 10 tools in one, but each individual tool just doesn't work very well. So maybe this 4-in-1 microphone doesn't really work. It does 4 different things, but each one it does in a mediocre way. I don't know. But anyway, they're trumpeting. They have AI-powered noise cancellation. That's one of their big selling features. But I tend to lose interest when you talk about noise cancellation because I want to hear the noise. I want to hear the sound of the motorcycle go by. I want to hear the sound of the wind, the frying of the pan in the kitchen, the knocking sounds in the background, children chattering, laughing. I want all that sound because the whole point is I'm out here in the world. So I don't really want to cancel all that sound. Anyway, and beyond that, noise canceled audio just sounds weird to me in context. Feels like it's voiceover recorded in a studio. It feels kind of bland to me. Anyway, I like a crisp, trebly sound. Since I arrived here, I ran out of my normal instant coffee and creamer. And there's no shops here that sell, there's no like Indomaret, there's no convenience stores up here, obviously. So I've started buying these 3-in-1 coffee packages. So this is some sort of a Belly 2 Extra 1 top coffee. Gula Aren Hits 3-in-1 instant coffee. Not always my favorite because I don't want the sugar. I'd rather just have 2-in-1. But oddly enough, 2-in-1 coffee with creamer. It's very rare. Most companies don't make 2-in-1. They only make 3-in-1. Anyway, I'm all hopped up on sugar now because of this coffee that I've been drinking. And I've run out of these too, so I'm getting another package. I'm actually getting 10 of them. I'm stocking up. But I'll go through 3 of those in a day, at least 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 3 cups of coffee a day sort of thing. So this will last me 3 days, 4 days maybe, depending. It's funny being in a place like this when you're totally outclassed by everybody, like when it comes to transportation or anything at all. because I'm riding my bicycle and trudging up and down the hill, sweating. And even the tiniest children here, like you'll see a little kid out there flying a kite, and when they're done flying their kite, they hop on their motorcycle and then they zoom off somewhere else. Everybody's riding around on scooters and motorcycles except for me. This is interesting. The other day I was talking about this YouTuber who's sailing around the world. This channel is called Sailing Tritea, I think is the name of the channel. And I was talking about his video where he told the story about how he was having trouble getting a visa extension in Indonesia. He was actually on the island of Borneo in Kalimantan, which is the Indonesian side of Borneo. So he had sailed his sailboat into this port at Kalimantan, and there was an immigration office there. And then they wouldn't give him the extension. They told him he had to go all the way back to the original immigration office where he entered the country. Because I think in his extension application, he neglected to change his address. He didn't update his location, which you need to do because they tell you to go to the immigration office nearest the address that you put in your application. So he just left it as his old address. I think that's what happened. But anyway, he was unable to get, an extension. And I was very entertained by the comments. I talked about this in yesterday's video, where everybody was telling him what they think happened. Just like I'm saying, I'm thinking what happened, but other people were telling him that all the Indonesian immigration officers are corrupt, and they were trying to get a bribe out of him, but they're implying that he was too dumb to realize that they were asking for a bribe, and then that if he had given them some money, he would have gotten his extension. Everybody was telling him that in the comments, and other people were telling him that they didn't give him his extension because of his appearance. He's got a lot of tattoos, and he has pulled extended earlobes with hoops in them, quite large ones. And he had a little bit of a beard and longer hair because he's living on a sailboat by himself. But he dressed up to go to immigration. He put on a nice shirt and long pants and shoes, things like that. So he was presentable. But everybody was telling him the reason you didn't get your extension was because of the way you looked. And I was saying that I really admired this guy, the way he was dealing with the comments, because he had no patience for any of them. If somebody said, oh, they were looking for a bribe, he just typed, nope, and just left it at that. And he went through all they wanted bribes comments, and he just went, nope, nope, you don't know what you're talking about, nope, 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 nope. And I agree with him, he's right. Oh. I still don't know what this fruit is. I had this one the other day. Actually, I'll take some video of the fruit, and then you can tell me just how dumb I am. Because I thought maybe it was mango, but it does taste a little bit tart, like not ripe mango. It's like got a bit of a tartness to it. The last time I was here, I had two juices. I had this one and an orange mango. And then when it came to people telling him that it's because of his tattoos and his earrings, his ear hoops, again, he told them, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like here in Borneo, the people that live here, they have a long history of tattooing and ear decoration. It's an art form. So you guys don't know what you're talking. You're all idiots. He basically told everybody leaving a comment that you're all idiots. You have no idea what you're talking about. And then the rest of the comments were all from tough guys saying, ha, I don't even know why you bothered trying to get an extension. Just pull up anchor and leave. Like, how are they going to catch you? And then he would tell them, nope, can't do that either, because on a sailboat, you need clearance papers from your previous port before they let you into another country. Because he's going to be sailing to Malaysia. The first thing they're going to do when he gets there is they're going to say, okay, where are your clearance papers from your previous dock? So he has to be cleared out of the country before he can enter a new one. So he's telling all these people, like, all of you desk jockeys who think you know stuff, you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, and I just opened up YouTube, and the very first video I saw was this one from the same guy, and he's basically, in the thumbnail, he's saying, "Not bribes, not my tattoos." And the title of the video is, "No, the officer wasn't looking for a bribe, and no, it wasn't because of my tattoos." So he was just basically fed up with all the keyboard warriors who thought they knew stuff that is obviously untrue. It's 5 minutes long, so I'm going to listen to him talk about this in this video. That's funny. So I'm going to enjoy that as I enjoy my lunch. So here is the fruit. I don't know what it is. Let me take you for a walk. So here are my choices when it comes to fruit juice. And these green ones here, that's what I've had yesterday and today. And don't they look like mangoes? So maybe they're like a little bit unripe mangoes. I mean, like I said, I do not know my fruit. I have no idea what this fruit is. I don't really know what to call that one. They call them oranges. I guess that's an apple. I have no idea what this one is. I know that's a dragon fruit, Anyeka bua. And then even for these ones, I don't know what they are. Very exciting. The meal has arrived. Look at that. So it's such a nice presentation. The sliced cucumber, and then these little crackers, fried noodles with a nice egg on top. And this is the bakso, and I guess that is an egg. Usually there's one big one, but today it looks like there's only just a smaller one today, but I think there's an egg inside of there. And then a whole bunch of little baksos, little baksos. I love this. And then I have my 10 coffees. So there. Oh, don't forget the most exciting one of all, the fruit juice. I don't think I'm going to make it to the swimming hole today. It's time to sort of start winding down as the sun is getting lower in the sky. Evening is about to settle in. Lovely place, really is a lovely place. It's one of these places where when you leave and you go somewhere else, wherever that other place is, like maybe you feel the pressure that you have to go somewhere new, so you head on up the road and now you're in a new city, and you miss this place and you wonder, like, why did I leave? Like, why did I ever leave? If there's a moment when there's no traffic here at all, no cars or trucks or scooters, and the silence settles in, like utter total silence, and you start to hear the birds, the insects, and the gibbons in particular. It's really quite magical here. He says, as the giant orange construction truck goes thundering by. But as I said, when I left from the restaurant, for whatever reason, as I was walking, there was a period of like 3 minutes when there was like no traffic at all. And the stillness just settled over me. And that's what prompted me to start getting poetic. Like right now. Though I hear some music now coming up ahead, so it's not quite the same thing. But yeah, not heading to the water hole today. Maybe tomorrow, if the weather is good in the morning, I'll do that. I ran into another issue with pricing when I was at that little cafe there. It's always a funny one. Like when it comes to understanding numbers and the local currency, because I finished my lunch and I felt like something sweet, a little snack for dessert. And they had these little wafers there, some chocolate wafers, lemon wafers, and mint wafers. Very small little snacks, not candy bars, but like cookies almost, wafers. Oh, here comes a bus. Yeah, so yeah, they even have buses going up and down this road. So I want to buy some of these wafers, and I need to know how much are they. And I know a little bit of numbers, and I ask berapa, like berapa harganya, how much are they? But in this case, I think what happens is quite often these little candies have two prices. So I think what she was telling me was they're 600 rupiah each, or 4 for 2,000, right? So if you get 4 of them all at once, you get kind of a you get a discount. So once you start telling me that in Indonesian, yeah, I'm completely lost. I have no idea what you're saying. Like 1 for 600, I can hang with you right up until there. Okay, 600 rupiah, I got that. But then it's like, or 4 for 2,000. And then I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. And we had to work through it for a few minutes.
Hello, mister.
Hello. Almost like putting together a puzzle, because I ended up getting 4 of each. Once I understood the price, 4 for 2,000, that makes things easy. I got 4 chocolate, 4 lemon, and 4 mint. And I laid them out on the table. The woman was in the kitchen. So I got 6,000 rupiah. And then I went in and I told her, I was like, okay, this is what I want to get. And here you are, 6,000. And then she started saying, no, 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 no. Like telling me a different price, because she thought I was getting 8 or something. So I was supposed to be giving her 4,000. And then I finally had to bring her out to the room and show her on the table. I had 4 lemon, 4 mint, 4 chocolate. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000 for a total of 6. And it was like, we were, after what felt like an hour, we were finally on the same page. But she's a very nice woman, very good-hearted. She loves to laugh. And we always have a good time when I'm there, ordering my lunch and then getting my little snacks and instant coffee packets. So here I am, back at Sumber Makmur. Right over there. And the swimming hole is down that direction. It would be like half a kilometer down the road and then another half a kilometer up the road, according to my guide. So, but I think I'll save that for tomorrow morning. And so with that and a truck thundering past, I'm going to shut down the video for today. Very casual, laid back, quiet kind of day, but I'm ending it. I started it well with a hike up in the mountain, up into the hills there, and I'm ending it well with lemon, mint, and chocolate wafers, which is very, very good. And so yeah, that's it for today. Shutting down the video, and I'll see you in the next one.